The Austin Children's Shelter has been given an incredible opportunity to impact lives of the most vulnerable children in our community. First, we take care of the basics: nutritious meals, a warm bed to sleep in, clean clothes, and for many, their first real sense of safety. Second, we lay a foundation for success by addressing their physical, medical, emotional, developmental, and academic needs. Third, we empower children by teaching skills in effective decision-making, clear communication, and personal responsibility. And finally, we link them to other resources in the community that can provide ongoing support. Many very young children come to us with significant developmental delays, yet every child has tremendous potential to overcome.
I remember meeting Leah when she first got here. She was very withdrawn. She had a very grim look on her face, and she was very suspicious, not talking whatsoever, no language. So we knew we were in for some challenges. We didn't know what. We did find after about a week of good routine and sleep and good food, she started relaxing a little bit, and then she became very curious about what the older children were doing in the preschool program. And I remember distinctly her moaning and yelling and kind of crying to participate. She assimilated pretty easily into the program. She let us know that she could pick up and she could paint, and she could do some of the simpler puzzles. So the staff decided that we were going to label everything and not anticipate Leah's needs. And by doing so, we would really encourage her to start speaking. Slowly she began pointing to things and labeling them and beginning to say a few words. And when she left, she was just the happiest, sweetest little girl. It was hard to believe she was the same little girl who had come 4 months earlier. She grew in so many ways in such a short time, and she was a true success story for the Children's Shelter.
We're also seeing more and more teenagers arrive with much longer, more severe histories of abuse and neglect. Many were failed first by their caregivers and then, over and over again, by an overburdened, underfunded child welfare system. Many are about to age out of the system, completely unprepared for life on their own. Without intervention, some will end up in the criminal justice system or find themselves homeless. Their future success depends on their ability to make good choices, find healthier ways to deal with their emotions, and learn to advocate for themselves. With support, they can succeed.
When Junior came to us, he had come to us from, he had been on runaway status, and every placement that he'd been in previously, he'd actually run away from. He'd had very little success staying in one place and holding his own. He also had conduct disorder and had drug abuse, a serious drug abuse history. And so when he came in, one of the things that we were really preemptive about was trying to make sure that he understood that we wanted to support him and make this placement or temporary placement different and help him be successful. The staff was very engaged with socializing with him and trying to get him to open up. His clinical did a phenomenal job with making him feel empowered in his case and connected him with his caseworker. And really, for the first time, he said he felt like he had a stake in the outcome of his life. And that was mainly because he stuck around long enough to allow us to help him build that bridge between him and his future, instead of just running away and starting the cycle all over again. Though he did make mistakes, he allowed us to help him fix those mistakes. When he became angry, he allowed us to provide him the tools to communicate that appropriately and channel the anger in a way that really helped him address the root problems. And one of the really impressive things that he did, and that his clinical allowed him to do, was to take, as I said, take a stake in his future. And so he did an interview with a foster home. And this foster home was going to put him right where he wanted to be. There was only one caveat, one condition, and that was that there was no baggy jeans, no piercing, and no hip-hop music. And Junior thought about this for a real long while and didn't know if this was a lifestyle adjustment that he could make. What we heard about 5 days later from the caseworker was that Junior didn't like the placement, but instead of running away as if he would have done in the past, he contacted the worker and said, "I can't do it here. I don't think I'll be able to succeed here." The caseworker in turn found another foster placement, and he was successful in staying there. It was real uplifting for the clinical too. I remember afterwards she just said, "You know, I needed that. We all needed that. That was a success."
One of the most encouraging and uplifting aspects of this work is the resiliency of the human spirit. It only takes a child like Eric to remind us of the power of hope. Eric endured unspeakable physical and sexual abuse, neglect, abandonment, and loss for most of his life, first from his biological family, then throughout 17 foster homes and 2 failed adoptions.
We helped him persevere. We always gave him, he had the tools. He knew the tools that he had to kind of get over whatever obstacles were in front of him. And he was here before, so he knew how the shelter, worked. We let him make those choices and let him bounce back and problem solve. We just kind of gave him the ball and told him, and if he needed help, he knew he could ask.
Over the past 10 years, the Austin Children's Shelter has been the one constant safe place in Eric's life.
I saw Eric's transformation grow from someone very timid and scared who couldn't rationalize very well and couldn't see the long-term consequences to his negative behaviors. The staff being here each time he came really helped him to feel like he could grow and to feel positive and empowered. He was ready to grow and ready to kind of grow up and spread his wings and do what he needs to do. He was in a good position to where he trusted the adults around him and was ready to listen to them. And he knew he was in a situation where everyone cared for him and wanted to see him grow in a positive way.
Our staff watched Eric grow up from a terrified 5-year-old to the resilient and still hopeful 15-year-old he is today.
I learned from Eric how to persevere through everything because he overcame so much.
Our opportunity to change lives is tremendous, but we can't do it without you. Children like Leah, Junior, and Eric come through our doors every day looking for hope, and they need your support. To serve more children, we're building a new campus slated to open in fall of 2009. There we can expand our programs and services and provide longer-term comprehensive support for children. These new facilities will make our dream of doing more and doing it better a reality. Please join us in our commitment to changing the futures of our most vulnerable children and families and the futures of generations to come, one family at a time.